What's going on, guys? Let's talk about some Bitcoin and Ethereum in the overall markets. First thing, I'm going to start off by scrolling through some charts showing you just how to use this Elliott Wave Pivot indicator. This thing, I spent a long time on this. If you don't already have access to it, you can shoot me a message. It is a $25 one-time fee to access this, or you can sign up using one of our referral links. So let me just show you how it should be used. You can turn the lines off if you want to, so it doesn't have the connection. I worked hard on those lines, so hopefully you like the lines. You can see there's no primary waves marked on this chart. You can also switch it to the dark background. The only one that will change is the primary waves because the labels are black, so it will switch them to white with black text. And then these are just different degree waves. So minute waves are the lowest degree, with minor being the next degree. On the Bitcoin chart, there's no minor waves confirmed that weren't also confirmed as major. So if I hide major, you'll see that there's minor tags under there. Sometimes the waves do overlap. They can be of a higher degree and a lower degree at the same time. For example, this was a minute degree wave, this was a major and minor and minute degree wave. So the more tags you add on here, the more noise you're going to see. But for me, what you're looking for is structure. In fact, let's turn off the other degrees and just look at minute here real quick. So you've got several pivots here. There's no pivots shown on this. So for me, this is an impulse up, no flips. And behind that impulse, we obviously have some kind of corrective piece with several flips through the whole thing. And for me, there's a confirmed flat here. Pretty clear. Shows the subwaves of the flat right there. Starting here, A, B, C. A, B, C. And if we go back into the indicator, I just showed you this is A, B, C. You can see that this was confirmed as one wave of higher degree. A, B, C in it, but this whole thing, no matter what the actual subwave count is, this whole thing was confirmed as a wave of higher degree. So we'll talk about this move in just a minute. First, I'm going to show this on some other charts, and we're going to turn minute off. We're going to go look at some traditional stuff. Oil, for instance. And we're going to see that there's a lot more primary waves in other markets. Again, you see all of these flips here suggesting this is all corrective of some sort. So we had an impulse up here to this primary label, and behind this we've got primary, 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 primary. In fact, realistically, we can turn off major and only view primary on this ticker. And that'll be true on a lot of the ones that I'm about to look at. Again, we've got a flat here. So when this pivot was confirmed, let me make it thicker. So you know that the first pivot of this move was this long. Then we had these moves behind it. So once this pivot was confirmed, you know to expect a move similar to this degree. Okay, that didn't work too well. Can't really view this chart in log right now. But my point is, you know to expect a move similar to this degree down coming out of this confirmed flat. And that's just by glancing at the chart. looking at where the labels are. And I will probably go ahead and make a higher degree to filter out some of these flips. But you can see this was another impulse here. Let me do it this way. We had another impulse. And an impulse doesn't necessarily mean 5 waves to me. An impulse is a trending move up. You've got a low, higher low, higher low, and then you got a top. You can call it ABC if you want. That's fine. But this, on this time frame, it was confirmed as one move. Behind that, you've got essentially 3 waves behind it, and then these moves here. So for me, maybe we're missing too much data here. This could be something like this, and then an impulse out of it. But this is a clear, very clear flat right here. A, B, C. And then a dump out of it. If we look at DXY, the dollar index, see a massive impulse and a lot of noise. For me, again, we're seeing a flat here. A, B, C. We're most likely not done on the US dollar index. And this is important. Strength in the dollar suggests weakness in other markets. It suggests weakness in the stock markets, in Bitcoin and gold and oil. We just printed $2 trillion. So why is the value of the dollar going up? It's a good question. But this shows that this move here is likely not complete because we expect this move to be comparable to this one. I can show you if we take it off the log what it would look like. So we'd expect to break this high and come to maybe 107 and 110. This is shown really well on USD CAD. It doesn't have all the false flips. Impulse down, A, B, C for B, A, B, C. So I'm still expecting upside on most of these, which suggests strength in the dollar, and that makes me wary in other markets. If we go look at a little bit longer term Bitcoin chart, you can see down here was our primary waves. We had an impulse up, we had primary confirmation here, and we've had an impulse up since then that does not have a confirmed pivot yet. So all this time we've been correcting, we could still be in this wave of this degree here. If we continue up without flipping primary wave, what we really want is for it to show us a primary wave. Let me draw on it real quick. Our ideal scenario would be for this to be a primary wave. And then we confirm a primary wave on this side. Doesn't matter how we get there. I'm suggesting A, B, WXY technically. We want to confirm a primary wave there so that when we continue up, we're in a new primary wave similar to this one. Impulse, correction, impulse out of it. If we don't get a primary wave here, then that would suggest that we're still internal, or not internal, we're still in the same degree wave of this one. and the top may not be able to make it quite as far. It'd be something like this before we have a larger correction than this, big enough to give us a primary degree wave. So we would really like, before the bear market ends, to see a primary wave confirmed here, and maybe reach like 2,000 to make that happen. Let's go look at total 2 real quick. This chart's going to look quite similar to the Ethereum chart. So this pivot got some late confirmation, unfortunately, but not a major deal, really. Actually, let's add the major waves instead of the primary. Yeah. So again, what I see here is this. We have a flat here. We have a move down. And it's an impulse as a part of a correction, right? Because this was our major impulse, our primary impulse. Behind that, we have a correction. But we have impulse, correction, impulse out of it. My opinion is that we still have a very high chance of doing something like this here. Until this pivot is confirmed as a major pivot, there's a very good chance that we turn around and head down towards new lows. So it's a tough situation for me. Let me chart it on the 3-day. I literally see 2 options here. The red option is the one I just showed you. Massive move down. The bullish option is that we confirm this as a major move, and then we have all of these ridiculous flips in here saying that we're probably still internal to this move on the left. So it could look like this. And then instead of this being the flat, being the correction to the corrective impulse, this would be our flat. So we have an impulse here, correction of some sort behind it. So right now for me, we're in one of 2 situations. We're in red or blue on all markets: Ethereum, Bitcoin, S&P 500, Dow Jones. All the markets are in a limbo area for me right now. They're at resistance or approaching resistance. See here how important this level has been for a long time. Interacted with it here, 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 here. Another pause with it here. So we need to watch it now. If we can establish that as support, then I'd be looking for blue. I'd be looking for this to form a major pivot. But I just talked to you about strength in the US dollar. That would suggest that the red route is more likely. If we look at total, this will be more reflective of Bitcoin. You can see the same situation here. Now I can't use that same pivot on total. We're already above it. But like, if we grab this one, you see it's acted as support and resistance multiple times throughout this. So maybe we move up one more time. Even with one more move, we're probably still heading towards the downside, in my opinion. My primary chart is like this, and it could take a while, it could move faster than that, but we could move into 2021 in some form or fashion like this. Essentially a contracting flat, lining up with these levels here. Wait, how am I wrong? I'm wrong if we confirm this as a major pivot. If this prints a major pivot right here, then we're likely in a more complex structure. So I showed you how this is a move down, A, B, C, on Bitcoin. So what does that make this move? And what does that make this move? For me, I believe that we have an A, B, C. But if we confirm a major pivot here, then this C, there's no way that this C is related to this C, this A, excuse me. So our A down was right here, or W, whatever you would like to call it. But our A down is here. And it was absolutely massive versus this. There's no way that this is related to this. So for me, we have an A, B either in progress or complete. Let me call it a W because this is a Y. At this point, it's a Y. So we have a W, X either completed or in progress, and a Y starting. So Y, or, and change the color on the next one, or we have A, B, C. Before W, X, Y. So what is this? This is the Amazon fractal. In 2000 to 2008. Unfortunately, the primary just missed this pivot here. So the indicator actually suggests that our correction on Amazon ended here, but I would suggest it's simply missing a pivot just slightly, and our correction is here. And this looks better when you turn the log off, actually. So what we have on Bitcoin right now is a move up, an A, B, C, a move up, and a move down, suggesting A, B, C before the next move down. So this, if we confirm this low on Bitcoin as a pivot, then I think we're heading up close to these highs. Just like we did here, we get really close to testing these highs. Looks like it would pass the 75% mark. habit. So we pull a fib from here to this level here, and we would pass the 75% mark. So we could see 18 grand if we confirm a pivot right here. And it's the exact same thing I just showed you. Move up, move down, move up, move down, move up, before a final move down. Why don't I like this? Because my B is way too short for me. A, B, C. This B is tiny. But right now, our Elliott Wave indicator does show that as a major wave. So if we confirm this as a major wave, this is my primary. No matter how I feel about this B wave, we've got an A down confirmed, we got a B up confirmed, and we would have a C down confirmed. Don't have that yet. So right now, my primary is not that. But I'd be okay with 18,000. Why not? So how can we trade it to the downside? How can we anticipate the downside? Well, actually, let's turn that back on, and let's turn on the minute waves, the lowest degree that I show on the indicator, and we'll go down to the 4 hour. So in my opinion, this is actually our correction. Caught the move up here as an impulse, so that's fine. But in my opinion, it probably ended here or here. And then we caught the correction, and it just counted this as a correction. So no big deal. Close enough in my opinion. Still shows me structurally that these are important pivots on the chart. Once we broke this trend line, we know that we're starting a new move of essentially this degree. Let's call it this pivot here. And this would be A, B, C. We can call it A, B, C, W, X, Y. So we're starting a move of this degree from this little guy here. We can see pretty dang high. I don't expect to take out this high here. Can we go this high without taking out, without making this a major pivot? I don't know the answer to that. It seems like if we reach this high, that probably confirms this is a major pivot, and we likely form some kind of continuation pattern and continue up again. So for now, I'm watching a couple trend lines. I'm also watching the 1 hour and 4 hour MACD. This trend line here will be important. Let me make it red, because if we break it, that's bearish. If we end up under this, it's very bearish, and we should expect continuation down. But this is a large move. We don't really want to miss this move to the downside. So we're watching for a minute pivot to form up here, at some point up here. I'm also watching the 4-hour MACD. Let me turn off the divergences. I don't really use those divergences at all. See, we really don't have too much divergence here. A little bit on each of this pivot, and here on the 4-hour each get lower. So technically we are forming divergences here, but because this was a corrective piece, I expect that. And then often the impulse out will break the divergence. Right now, it looks like we continue up, and then we come down. The 4-hour looks pretty solid. If we go down to the 1-hour, very close to crossing red. One-hour looks pretty solid too. We broke under this trend line, but now we're recovering over it. So it's not clear yet. Right now, I still think we might have one more move up. 15-minute, you can see, is red, but it's about to cross positive as well. ETH has shown more strength throughout most of this move, but it's currently red as well, and not really as close to crossing. Plus, we have significant bearish divergences forming across this whole thing. So it's time to be cautious. We're in resistance areas. So it's definitely time to be cautious with the longs. We got divergences forming with the resistance zone. If we confirm something over here as a minute pivot, then I'm expecting a large corrective piece to form. And I'm expecting it to be a flat because most corrections are flats. Typically, if we see a correction, it will be some variety of a flat. All right, guys, that's really all I've got. For now, I'm not ready to short, but I am watching 1-hour, 4-hour MACDs, and I'm very cautious with any long positions. If you have any questions, just hit me up.